Hi, it's Josh Weidman here with REI 360, and I want to thank you for joining me for today's training here. 3, 2, 1. Hi, thanks for joining me for today's REI 360 training. Today I want to talk about something that is kind of a hot topic. It's a really important part of any real estate investing business, and for that matter, any business at all, and that is marketing. In this case, today we're going to talk about designing a marketing plan to generate leads for motivated sellers. Now, the key to this marketing plan is going to be something that is becoming more and more prevalent in all industries. If you notice that, for a time, online businesses were all the craze, and before the internet, it was all offline. Now, as the internet is becoming more and more mature of an interface and a platform, we're noticing more and more businesses that are online, offline businesses, where they've got a nice online presence that creates some functionality and credibility in their business, but they also have this really strong offline presence where they're providing goods and services. And that is a perfect description of a good real estate investing business, where you have this online presence and the offline presence. So we want to design a marketing plan that's going to attract people both online and offline so that we can pretty much get the best bang for our buck. All right? So we've got our marketing plan here, and a good marketing plan is going to start with the 3 M's, and I've done a couple different trainings on the 3 M's of marketing, which are your market, the people you're sending your message to. The second is the message, what you have to say, and the third is the medium, and that's the way it's being delivered to the people you're talking to. So in this case, we're going to start with offline marketing. All right. There's a couple different bullet points here, and I want to talk about number one, what each one is, how it's how it's entailed and can be worked into your marketing plan, what kind of response you should expect, and specifically how much attention you need to give it. All right. So first, we've got bandit signs. Bandit signs are an inexpensive way to generate traffic and generate leads, but it's really important that they are that when you're putting up bandit signs, you're doing it strategically. I have a totally separate training specifically designed to bandit signs. But the one thing that you want to remember, and the most important thing that you want to take a look at, is that when you're posting these bandit signs up, inevitably they're going to come down. Whether you didn't hammer them up, on the pole hard enough, or if you've got a municipality that continues to take them down, or you have competition that takes them down, or a neighbor, or whatever. The key is that if they're not up, if people aren't seeing them because they've been torn down, it's a waste of time. So you need to continually refresh that, and typically I say about 2 times a month. Once every 2 weeks you go back to the intersections and things that, whether you're paying somebody or doing yourself, make sure that they're up, and if they're not, to replace them. Okay? The second offline marketing technique that I use that is, it's probably my favorite, and that is direct mail. I find it's the best bang for the buck, dollar for dollar, gives me the best response. Now, it only does this if you have targeted lists, and I just recently wrote a blog post on direct mail and direct response marketing. But there are a couple different lists. The more specific your list, the more targeted it is, and the more targeted your message to those people that you're going after, the better of a response you're going to have. The key with direct marketing, or direct mail, is to be consistent with it. If you say, I'm going to send out this many letters, this many times a week or month, send them out. If you don't send those out, you will not get the response. Okay? So let's see what we got here. First, we have the first group of people that I send to are absentee owners with 70% or more equity. Why is this an attractive list? Well, number one, people don't live in the property. That means they either inherited the house at some time in the past, it's a vacant property that they forgot about or don't want, or they're a landlord. And guess what? They have 70% equity. So the likelihood is, if I'm going to buy the house, I'm going to be able to put some money in their pocket, and at the same time, get it at a strong enough discount that I can make some money, whether I'm buying it to flip or buying it as a wholesale property. Right? With this campaign, I start out with one letter that's kind of an introduction and an overview of what I do. I follow that up with a postcard, and then I finish the campaign with a postcard. And these are spaced at 2-week intervals. So week 1, they get the letter. Week 3, they get a postcard. And week 5, they get another postcard. And then I put the list to rest for a while. We'll go back to it in maybe another 6 months. But this is the absentee 70% equity. Next, I have my probate list, and I do this on a monthly basis, okay? I get the new probate list. This is a four-piece mailer, all right? I have 3 letters, and then I have a postcard to follow it up. Now, probates are really effective. Why? Because it's under an equity. These are people that have inherited a house, or they have a property that's either in a estate or in a will that needs to go through the probate process and has to be sold before the estate can be settled. So they are motivated sellers. They didn't earn the equity, so they don't have an emotional attachment. However, when you're presenting these letters and this communication has to be done very, very carefully. You don't want to come off as a used car salesman or an ambulance chaser. That's not what we're doing. I get calls on every probate list of people upset because, oh my goodness, my mother just passed away and they're already calling about our house. Look, our intention is not to insult anybody. And so when we present our message, the first letter goes out in week 1, but then I don't follow up until 3 weeks later. And it's a very carefully crafted letter. It's, hey, my condolences, I understand what you're going through. This is the kind of thing that happened to me. You know, I've been through this myself. Here's how I can help. So these letters are crafted in such a way that it's a soft touch. You know, if you're too aggressive, you're going to have a really negative feedback. So I send out a letter in week 1, week 4, and week 6. And then I lay off until week 12. And in week 12, I'll send them a postcard. This is just a continually staying in front of people, because oftentimes it can take several weeks before a property or an estate is ready to finally settle. And you want to be there in front of them as a reminder, hey, this is something that I'm interested in doing, I can help you with this, so on and so forth. Okay? The eviction filings. Eviction filings are fantastic. The process changes a little bit from municipality to municipality, state to state, but in my market in Philadelphia, I know that the process typically takes about 6 weeks. So that when an eviction filing is placed, there's an action that has to take place 2 weeks later, and 2 weeks after that, and 2 weeks after that. So it's a 6-week process. I like eviction filings because oftentimes you have a motivated seller. He's an investor, or maybe it's somebody that just has one rental property and they just want to get rid of it. They're sick and tired of it. This tenant is the last in the long line of people that have beat up their property and cost them money. The message here is that, you know, hey, let me take care of your tenant problems. Let me fix your problem. That's the idea with this. So it's a three-piece mailer, postcard letter, and it's designed to introduce yourself, feel their pain, fix their problem. That's the idea behind it. Lastly, we have our non-owner occupied multifamily units. Now, I don't have an equity demand, I guess, in the list when I put it together. The reason for that is that I often find that multifamily units, because of the increased cash flow, I can pay, maybe not full market value, but pretty close. And when I'm wholesaling properties like this, they make sense on a cash flow basis. If they're in decent areas, or even if they're in bad areas, the cash flow oftentimes outpaces any, and offsets any blight in the neighborhood. So I'm looking for multifamily properties, and I want them non-owner occupied. I want them to be investment properties. This campaign is very similar to the absentee high equity. It's really, really very similar. There's a few different nuances in the letter campaign, but the delivery is the same. The first one's a letter of introduction, then we have a postcard follow-up and a postcard to close. These mailing campaigns, the templates are all in REI 360 under the template section. You can download them and have access to them, customize them however you need to. But this is it's my biggest expense with my marketing. It's also the biggest return on investment. Dollar for dollar, this is my best marketing. Okay, but it's not my sole source. Okay, so right now we're looking at bandit signs. We talked about that. We talked about direct mail. Another great source of leads. You wouldn't think it, but this is something I learned in the home improvement industry. Every time I have an appointment, I have a little booklet of Post-it notes, and it's a $500 referral fee. If you know anybody that wants or needs to sell their house, please have them give me a call. Here's my phone number, and these are the type of properties we buy. And by the way, we're purchasing a property in the neighborhood. So now I'm meeting with Mrs. Jones at 123 Main Street. But before I go up to her house, I take out my little pad and I go up and down the street and put these on every door. Now, people get home at the end of the day, or they come in for lunch or whatever, and boom, here's $500 referral fee. You know what, I was thinking about selling my house, and here's somebody who's already buying in the area. Or, hey, you know what, my sister could really use your services. I had an appointment yesterday where, as I was walking out the door, the neighbor across the street flagged me down. She said, hey, I got your flyer here. Tell me a little bit about what's going on. So I started telling her about what I do and things like that, and she said, oh, well, my cousin is currently fixing up her house because she wants to sell it. It's really a mess. You really should give her a call. So we called her on the spot. I scheduled an appointment, and later this week I'm going to go and see the property. Basically, this is a very, very low cost way to touch the other people in the neighborhood and get referrals. You're not going to get a ton of them, but the cost is a few $100s, like $200 or $300, for tens of thousands of these little post-its. They'll last you for years. So it's a really low cost, effective add-on. Other wholesalers. You would talk about inexpensive, inexpensive source are developing a bird dog network, and wholesalers. These are people that are already in the business. They're already looking for properties. They're already out there. A lot of them spending money on marketing themselves. So if you're an end consumer, even if you're another wholesaler, if you know exactly what you're looking for, hey, talk to these guys. Develop a network, and find a way to work together so you can both make money on a deal. It's a great opportunity to, I have a friend who's a wholesaler. He wholesales about 10 properties a month with zero marketing, and he does it just through a network of wholesalers and bird dogs. So it's really effective, okay? So keep that in mind. Last one is canvassing. This is something that I developed from the home improvement industry. It's essentially door-to-door, in-your-face direct response marketing. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Fuller Brush Company or Cutco Knives, Hoover Vacuums. These are whole industries that developed out of door-to-door sales. And it's the same idea. This is not for everybody. However, it is a very low-cost, very high-yield, rewarding outlet. If you know that, okay, look, if I go out and I knock 500 doors, most of the time people are going to slam the door in my face, but out of 500, I'm probably going to get 10 or 15 leads out of that 500 doors, and that's going to turn into 3 or 4 deals that is going to yield me, let's say, only $5,000 a piece. Well, 500 doors of uncomfortable conversation turned into $20,000, that's a pretty good return. This is a great way to get started if you if you don't have a lot of money to invest in your marketing when you first get started. It's also a great opportunity if you have an outgoing personality. I have a whole system on this that we're developing. We're going to be launching here in the springtime. Will be available on our 360. But canvassing is a really good outlet. So here we have our campaigns. Here we have we're laying out exactly what we're going to do offline to bring in a bunch of leads. Now, here's the beautiful thing. This is the stuff that's going to be hands-on. A lot of it can be automated once you have all the pieces in place. This can be automated, the direct mail. Direct mail, we can set that up. We can, tie a credit card to our account. You can train a virtual assistant to set all these things up. And once your postcards and your mailing pieces are ready to go, now you just upload a list, or better yet, you email it or instruct your virtual assistant to order the list, and when you have it, it's uploaded and the pieces are mailed, and you don't have to know anything about it. It's a beautiful thing. The bandit signs. Once you identify where you want to be investing and where you're going to be advertising with these bandit signs, this is something that you can hire someone to do. Obviously, there's going to be some follow-up. You might pay them a few dollars per bandit sign to post 2 times a month. And then when he tells you they're done, you drive to the neighborhood, make sure they're there. It takes you 20 minutes, and boom. That's almost full automation. Appointment and door hangers, again, $200 or $300 buys you tens of thousands of these things. You'll have them forever. Then just implement it when you go into a neighborhood. Boom, boom, boom. Make sure you have an extra 10 minutes to just walk up one side of the street and down the other. Other wholesalers and bird dogs, these two are are things that you're going to develop over time. As the longer you're in the industry, the more you get to know people. Collect business cards when you go to these REI meetings, the real estate investor meetings, and you know, anytime you're networking, anytime you're meeting somebody, or maybe you go into a house to make an offer, and there's another investor there. Get their card. You know, these are not necessarily just competition. Yeah, they're competition, but they're not your enemy. You can work together and make money, you know, on that. On the bird dog end, a lot of my best bird dogs developed out of these appointment door hangers. I put a door hanger on the door. They make $500 or $1,000 on a deal, and all of a sudden they're running all over the neighborhood looking for deals for me. And so now I developed a bird dog. You know, with the wholesalers, this is going to integrate into some of our online marketing as well. But these two are things that you're going to develop. The canvassing is very hands-on initially, but once you learn how to do it, we have a system that you can actually outsource the entire business and just reap the results of the leads. But you know, we'll talk about that. But I mean, this is a very essential part of your business that you have to implement. Make it hands off and kick it into gear. All right. Now this is the offline side of the business. Now let's talk about the online side. This is really cool because there's some fantastic things that you can do with technology now. That you know, you set everything up, you push a button, and all of a sudden your marketing is automated. It's fantastic. All right. So first thing is the website. You really should have a website. If you're a member of REI 360, you have the opportunity to have a free website. You can even customize it with your own domain name, but you can customize it with all of the content, all the presentation. Basically, you are going to present yourself and your company and show what you do. All right? You need a website to add to your credibility. All right? AdWord campaigns. I don't know if you have ever, I mean, this is an opportunity here. It's not necessarily something that I recommend, certainly not in the beginning because it gets very expensive. What are AdWords? If you ever do a search on Google, you'll see at the top of the page, there's ads at the top and on the sides of the page. Those are paid advertising, and it's called pay-per-click advertising. Every time you click on that, it costs the advertiser money. Well, if you're advertising for We Buy Homes in a specific neighborhood or a specific zip code or whatever, you can advertise in very specific geographic locations for specific keywords that people will search. These are the campaigns that you have. In fact, with Google, there's even something called remarketing, where you can have a banner designed and upload it onto Google, and let's say somebody goes to your website, they read about you, and they might be interested. But now they're online somewhere else, and they're searching the internet, and what do they see? Oh, they see an ad for your company. And they go somewhere else, and there's another ad for your company. Well, that's paid advertising on different sites, and it all goes through Google, and you only pay for it if you click on it. It's a very competitive market. It can be very expensive. It's the kind of thing that you would budget a couple $1,000s a month, and it's probably best left to hire a professional to do that the first time, to kind of tweak your AdWord campaign to make sure it's working for you. All right? Email campaigns. This is one of my favorite ways to generate really good leads from places that you wouldn't think. Now, I have two kinds of lead sources that I look at. One are the 1 and 2 property sellers. These are people with a couple properties. Oftentimes they're investors or they're owner-occupied homeowners that they're selling their only property. Great, that's what most people are familiar with. Then I have what I call the institutional sellers. These are investors that are getting out of the business, and they have 50 properties. These are banks with small banks that you're able to contact and talk to the head of the REO department that might only have 7 or 8 REOs in their entire inventory. They might only have 1 or 2. But guess what? You have 100 of these banks and they have 1 or 2 properties. That's a great source of leads. Okay. I also have under this umbrella is real estate agents and some different attorneys and things like that. Well, these institutional opportunities I find best, or the best outlet for them, are to set up email campaigns. These are direct mail campaigns over email, and they're set up. Well, I start them by setting up a criteria. These are the type of people that I'm looking for. I have a researcher that I hired from Uzbekistan. He does amazing research. I give him criteria. He tells me probably how long it's going to take and how much it's going to cost me. But I've spent as much as $300 on the list and $100 for an email program that sends these emails out, one at a time. Once I have the list, that's my only investment. I can continue to market to these banks and to these individuals time after time after time after time after time, and continually pool and pool and pool properties with one investment. There's no more stamps. So this is a really great outlet. Typically, for these larger lists, I do once a week I'll send an email out to a different list. But then I also have follow-up campaigns. Follow-up campaigns are for people that I've seen their property. Maybe I've made them an offer, emailed them a contract. Maybe I've talked to them on the phone, whatever. I send out emails 2 times a month. Hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm interested in purchasing a property in your neighborhood. I know we talked in the past. I just wanted to see if you're still interested in selling. So that's the key with your whole marketing plan. In order to generate the absolute most motivated seller leads, we want to combine an online and offline target. We want to drive leads offline and online to one source so that they feed off of each other. They see us on a website, or they see us on Facebook, and then they get a postcard in the mail from us. Or they get a postcard and they see our website, they go to the website, they check out our Facebook fan page, and all of a sudden we're reinforcing the credibility that we built in our business, that we are a reputable organization, that we've done a lot of deals, that we have testimonials, that they can see the kind of thing that they can expect from us. This really will drive traffic to you, motivated seller traffic, but also, it's going to drive credibility, which is going to lead to an easier sale and to an easier close. So, I encourage you, implement as many of these as you can realistically within your budget, but implement them, and I guarantee you will see that your motivated seller marketing will just blow through the roof. You'll be doing more deals, it'll be lower cost per lead, and ultimately you'll be making more money. So that's it for today's training. I want to thank you for joining me, and until I see you next time, I wish you the best of luck in your real estate investing.